on one division, and then the Southern teams, Bethune-Cookman, Florida A&M, North Carolina A&T, and North Carolina Central in the other division. We're leading the Northern Division by a pretty good margin. We have a 13-2 record, about a 5-game lead in the Northern Division, so they're in pretty good shape right there. But they're playing real good ball, and I gotta say, it's nice that a lot of local kids, 17 out of the 24 or 5 we have on our roster, are local kids, and it's good to be able to get some of that high school talent that's been in Delaware for so many years to get them to come to Delaware State and play for us.
Now, Dennis, over the weekend against Coppin State, 12-0, and in game number 2, 6-0. Are you surprised that Delaware State is producing big numbers?
Well, the pitching has been outstanding, and that's something they were expecting earlier this year. When we came out, we are veteran in the pitching staff. In fact, Jordan Elliott, who's from Lincoln, attended Milford High School, is our number one pitcher. He is one win away from tying the all-time record for wins as a pitcher, would be 25. So, yeah, having a guy like Jordan anchoring the pitching staff, we had an idea that we would be pretty tough. And then our kind of number 2 guy is Matt McLean. He went to Polytech High School. He's from Dover, and he's doing quite well. So between those two, they're like 10-3 combined. And then another kid, Elliot Gardner, he's from Middletown. So our top 3 pitchers are all Delaware guys, and they're veterans. Matt's a junior, and the other 2 are seniors. So they expected to do pretty well pitching this year because of the fact that they've been around a long time, and they've learned how to pitch. I mean, they're good hard throwers, but those guys know how to work corners and the strike zone a little bit, and it's nice to have seen them grow up the way they have from coming to Delaware State as, right after high school. Now they've become pretty good Division I pitchers right now.
Now you're talking about Gardner and McLean. Gardner pitched game 1 against Coppin State. In game number 2, Matt McLean had a phenomenal game. Only allowed 2 runs and or 2 hits.
2 hits. Mm-hmm.
And seemed like he had everything working in that game for him.
Yeah, he did. Matt's the kind of guy who, when he gets off to, occasionally, he had in earlier years, he'd get off to maybe a little bit of slow start first inning. But this year he seemed to have come on real strong to start the game. And when he's doing that, he's pretty tough. He throws a lot of strikes, and that's the good thing about him. But he's not throwing it right down the middle of the plate. He keeps the ball in the strike zone, but not sort of fat pitch for a hitter to knock out the park. So we're real pleased with how Matt has come along, and again, that's been the key. Because hitting, particularly when you start a year when it's cold out, your first games are in February, but the pitching has been pretty consistent all year for the team, and that's why they're doing as well as they are right now.
Now he's 5-2 on the season. What do you think he's meant to the Hornets?
Well, first off, just the fact that Matt McLean, again, came to Delaware State as an all-state player in Delaware. And when you're able to get Henlopen Conference kids, and, the sad part about pitching high school in this part of the state is that oftentimes they don't get to pitch a lot of games. So his senior year, he may have, pitched 10, 12 times, which is not a lot, but they saw a lot in Matt. And when you can get an all-state kid to come to our program, that speaks volumes for a lot of other kids coming up to say, you know what, we can play good Division I baseball right here in Delaware and get a chance to pitch against some good competition. I mean, we play some non-conference games down south and get some pretty good Division I teams. So it was nice to have a guy like Matt. But again, you got to have a solid. You really want to be solid 1, 2, and 3. But Matt's that guy kind of in the middle who again will give us a good performance. And the way they do it in the MEAC, you play 9 innings when you play a doubleheader. You play 9 innings in the first game. Then game 2 is usually 7 innings. So I don't know why they did it that way, but Matt's our 7-inning guy. He can give you 7 solid innings and really give that bullpen a break. And pretty much every game he's pitched this year, he's been able to go the distance.
And Gardner in game number 1, he now has his scoreless consecutive streak to 22 innings. Talk about how consistent he's been all season.
Well, it's amazing because he's had some injury issues throughout his career. Coming in out of St. Mark's High School, he was a top flight pitcher, and he ran into a lot of arm problems. He's had some injury issues. Well, he went and played some some summer ball, I should say, last year over in Maryland, and just was outstanding, just blowing people away. And that opened a lot of our eyes. It was like, wow, if he can bring that back into the regular season, he'll be pretty good. And he has been just that. I mean, he's 4-0. I think he's got 30 strikeouts and just 4 walks. And what has been outstanding about Elliott this year is his control. Just 4 walks in and 30 strikeouts. That's a great strikeout to walk ratio, and he's a hard throwing kid. He's a guy whose best pitch is his fastball, but he's also learned to work in some of his breaking pitches. So yeah, just those top three guys again, all Delaware kids who've been able to really solidify the pitching staff. That's been a big deal for us. But yeah, when I'm thinking about George Michael, he's a kid from Milford who has been really the surprise out of the bullpen. I call them 13th graders because last year those guys were in high school, so this would be like their 13th year of school. And George Michael has come in and really done a good job. He has a couple of saves and really come in and done some long relief for us as well. So yeah, with those three guys and then Michael coming out of the bullpen, because we had an injury to our regular closer, a kid named Chad Sturgeon, who's out of Sussex County, who has battled some injuries. So Michael, the freshman,
his hometown was Seaford.
That's correct.
Think he went to Sussex Tech.
Correct. Chad is from Seaford, and he was lights out last year as a reliever. And then he's had some arm issues he's had to deal with. So George Michael, the kid coming out of Milford, has come right in and just blown us all away. He's a pretty slight kid. You look at him, you wouldn't think that he could throw as hard and as effective as he has been. He's been really good at the collegiate level. Really pleased with what Georgie has brought to the team.
Now, what it shows at Delaware State, if you're a freshman and you're good, you're going to get playing time. So it has to help the recruiting efforts.
Yeah, it does. And again, J.P. Blandon, our head coach, he's a pitcher by trade. That's what he did in college. So he runs the pitching staff, calls most of the pitches, and if you can throw strikes, JP is going to give you a chance to pitch for him, and it's really crucial that the pitching stays consistent because in conference tournaments, particularly our conference tournament in the MEAC, it's a double elimination. But if you lose early, you got to play 5-6 games in a period of 3 or 4 days, and it wears the pitching staff out because more than likely your top guy may only get one start, one appearance in a tournament like that. So you gotta have some depth in that pitching staff, and I think right now we have some pretty good depth, and hopefully they can carry that into the tournament.
Now on the offense, Mike Alexander is batting .388 with 45 hits. What do you think of his efforts?
Well, what Mike has been, and of course the coaches knew about him. He's a Newcastle County kid from Newcastle, but he out of high school he went to Salem Community College in South Jersey. And lit up the junior college circuit. So when he came in, and I figured he must have been pretty good. They put him right into the lineup. The thing about Mike is that he can play some different positions. He's mostly played right field, but he also catches. The thing about him, though, he's fast as all get out. I mean, he's only been thrown out maybe twice. I think he's up to about 26, 27 steals, and only been caught a couple of times. So, and it's surprising. I think people see him and don't think he's as fast as he is, but he's a very versatile player, gets his bat on the ball, rarely strikes out, and when he gets on base, he makes things happen. So he's been probably the top newcomer among the everyday players. They just can't get him out of the lineup. He's going to play somewhere, whether it's DH, outfield, or catcher. He's a guy that has been really one of the keys to the success they've had this year.
From the players that we mentioned, do you think any of them will be drafted in the upcoming draft in June?
Jordan Elliott, again, has garnered some attention because of the fact that he's a tall right-hander. He's probably about 6'3", and has good stuff. He can hit the 90s. Has learned to pitch. It'll be the baseball draft is pretty long. There's a lot of rounds of the baseball draft. I think because of his experience too. I think there's a possibility that Jordan among those guys will and Gardner as well, but I think Jordan Elliott, just kind of noticing around every now and then when we play, you'll notice a few guys with some speed guns or whatever. I try not to bother those guys. I really don't want to know who they're there to see, but usually when Jordan pitches sometime, you'll see those guys out there. So he's certainly on the radar, and if he continues the way he has, particularly if they can somehow find a way to win the conference, maybe get into the NCAA tournament, and go up against a top flight team, I think that would really and give him a chance to get some real good exposure against some top level competition.
Now you mentioned 17 players from Delaware on the roster, but one that got away is playing at the University of Delaware from Sussex Central High School in Georgetown, DJ Long.
DJ Long. I had the privilege of calling his last high school football game, at least with Sussex Central. I believe he played in the Blue Gold game, but at Sussex Central, they played in the championship against Caesar Rodney at Delaware State, and I had a chance to broadcast that game for the local cable TV station. And you're right, he's an outstanding athlete. I wasn't sure. I think he made it pretty clear he was going to go to play baseball at UD. I don't know if he ever thought seriously about playing football in college. But you're right, we let him get away. We split with UD this year. We played 2 games up at Bob Hanna Stadium up at Delaware, and we won the first game and lost the second on a walk-off. So hopefully we could get a split. We've had some pretty good success the last couple of years against UD, but it would have been nice to get a sweep this year. But you're right, DJ's a great kid, and I wish we could get all the good Delaware kids, but he is one that got away from us.
Now we're going to take our first commercial break, but more to come with Dennis Jones from Delaware State University.
Do you have metal? Get it to Fitzgerald Salvage and Recycling. Fitzgerald's pays you cash. Fitzgerald's will pick up your unwanted vehicles and will buy your car or lawnmower batteries. If it's made of metal, Fitzgerald's pays cash and recycles it, which helps the environment. Fitzgerald's will also pick up and deliver roll-off dumpsters, and they accept electronics too, including cell phones and computers. Fitzgerald's is local and family-owned since 1935. Go to fitzgeraldsonline.com or find us on Facebook.
When owning an Echo product, you will discover it's about innovation, not limitation. Southern States in Milford has your complete line of Echo chainsaws, trimmers, and blowers. At Southern States in Milford, try the PB250 blower with a 2-stroke engine, a locking latch that keeps the tube securely connected, and a rotational control, which makes it easier to handle and reduce the stress on the operator's arm. Best of all, the power equipment is backed with a 5-year consumer warranty. Stop by Southern States in Milford at 7308 Williamsville Road or call 422-8066.
Hey everybody, Jim Weller here from Weller's in Ellendale and Bridgeville, talking to you about this energy efficient eye heater. For only $177, you can get a heater that will heat 1,000 square feet on just pennies a day. So if you need some cheap heat, come on into Weller's in Ellendale or Bridgeville. Hey everybody, Jim Weller here from Weller's in Bridgeville and Ellendale, talking to you today about carports. We sell carports. They include delivery and setup right to your yard. You can get a 12 by 21 for as little as $695. Give us a call or come see us today.
Hey, this is Colin Walls of Walls Service Center in downtown Milford, letting you know we do all types of auto repairs, including brakes, struts and shocks, tune-ups and timing belts, and we specialize in custom exhausts.
And welcome back. I'm Anthony Joseph, live at Jimmy's Grill in Bridgeville. My special guest, Dennis Jones, Sports Media Director for the university. And Dennis, now I'd like to talk about your football team. And Kermit Blunt, and he's done a tremendous team turning around that program. Last year, 6-5. Talk about the progress.
Yeah, Kermit really got off to not a slow start. He wasn't hired until February prior to the 2011 season, which is right before you sign new players. So he really didn't have a chance to recruit much at all. His first year was 3-8. Last year he improved to 6-5, which is of course a 3-game improvement, and in an 11-game season that's a nice improvement for a team. And really, they lost 2 out of the last 3, 1 in overtime, and then the last game against Howard they had a 18-point lead in the second half. So I mean, the better team won, but still they were in those last two of those last 3 games, and conceivably, I mean, it's hard to believe they could have gone 8-3 if they had just made a couple of plays in those 2 games. But what he's done is put in a good system. Stressing discipline. They're one of the least penalized teams in the conference. In fact, we had our spring football game last Saturday, and a lot of times college referees will use spring games to get some work in themselves. So officials from different conferences were there, and one of the things they spoke about was how disciplined the team has been in terms of penalties and not getting a lot of them, leading the MEAC the last couple of years in fewest penalties. And that's one thing Kermit has stressed. And he's taken advantage of the talent that we had. Last year we had a real good quarterback, Nick Elko, a kid from Arundel, Maryland, who finished up as number 2 all time as a quarterback at Delaware State. But they took advantage of what Nick did well, and that's the thing I like about Kermit. He has a good eye for talent, but he doesn't put you in a situation where you're asked to do things that you're not good at. And Nick was not a real deep ball thrower, wasn't a great runner, but he was good at intermediate passes, really a bright kid, and they were able to take advantage of that. So I'm certain that they'll be able to do that again. They're going to take advantage of the talent that they have and hopefully continue that rise forward.
He had 540 completions and over 5,000 passing yards. I'm talking about Nick Elko. How do you replace such a talented quarterback?
Yeah, it's going to be tough. What they were able to do last year, because Nick was so durable. He took every snap last year, which says a couple things. One, that we were in most of the games. There weren't blowouts one way or the other. So they were able to preserve the backup kids. And it may seem like not necessarily a good thing, but because both of the backups were new to the program, they needed to get used to the system and got a lot of practice time in. So the 2 kids that are fighting for the starting job this year, junior college transfer named Corey Murphy and a high school kid from Jersey, they were able to learn the system a little bit under Nick, and I think they'll be ready to go. But there's no doubt about it. It'll be tough to replace Nick Elko, because by the time he finished up, he could pretty much call the game himself, and he had a good group of receivers that he was able to utilize, particularly a lot of swing passes. He was very accurate. His throwing percentage was well in the 60s throughout his last couple of years. So that's going to be tough. There's no doubt about it. But I think they have the tools, particularly in the running game, that should be able to allow them to maybe have a different look this year, maybe not as pass happy, but they'll be able to run the ball. They have 3 real solid running backs, a good fullback who's a good blocker, and the offensive line is a little more experienced than they were last year. So I think you won't see us throw as many times as we did last year, but I think they'll be able to run the ball pretty well.
Now, I looked at the upcoming schedule. You start out with Delaware University, then you play Towson University. Talk about what it means to be able to take on teams that are close to reduce the transportation costs.
Yeah, it's big. Of course, for years, Delaware and Delaware State did not play. Played for the first time in 2007. This will be the 3rd time we'll go up there for a regular season game. Actually, the 4th time. I'm sorry, go up to UG for a regular season game, and we've had to play all the games up there. They have a much bigger facility, able to draw a bigger crowd for the game. So, I mean, we understand that coming in, but I think we made a little bit of progress last year in terms of just making the game a little bit more competitive. Delaware is an outstanding program, have tremendous history, changed coaches over all season, but still they're one of the premier programs in our level of football. And so we were able to at least stay competitive with them last year, and then the hope is that they can continue to make some progress toward a team like UD. A win would just be amazing for us. But they're just taking steps to get a little bit closer to a program like that.
Do you think you ever played Alumni Stadium in Dover?
I doubt it. I mean, we would have to expand to a point where we could get to maybe 15,000 people in order to, and if we did that, then that would be great, because then you'd possibly be able to maybe host a Blue Gold game. We have the high school championships at Delaware State every year in December, but if you can get up to about 15,000, then maybe you could host the Blue Gold All-Star game or something like that. But it would be tough to play UD at home with the size stadium that we have right now.
Now, last year you took on the Cincinnati Bearcats and almost beat them. It was close, 23-7. This year they're not on the schedule. Will they ever come back?
No, I doubt. That was an amazing experience for us, because the week before we played Cincinnati, they played Pittsburgh, which is, of course, at their level. And, I mean, they looked like, I watched that game on television, I was like, we're crazy to be playing these guys. There's no way we should be going out to Cincinnati. They were just the quickest team I'd ever seen. But for some reason, I mean, I don't know if it was a combination of, our guys got really fired up to play a big-time school like that, or maybe they took us a little bit lightly. But it was a lot closer than people thought, and we were able to, I think, force them into like 5 turnovers. And it wasn't as if Cincinnati just fumbled the ball. They were hit. There were a couple of those turnovers where it was contact, and the ball got loose. And but we just couldn't get really much going offensively. Their defense was really good, but it was nice to be able to have people look at the score and see 23-7 instead of what it could have been. Because I mean, they ended up, of course, going to a bowl game at the end of the year, and it was a good experience. I mean, just an outstanding atmosphere. The stadium there is a historic place. It's been around for a long, long time, and it was just a good experience for the kids. I do think it helped them. I mean, after losing that game, they went on a winning streak of about 5 games in a row, And I think just going to that, having that experience of playing against a big-time program and being competitive, I thought gave them a lot of confidence for the next, as we got into the conference season.
Now, you say you're not going to play Cincinnati. Will you ever play the Michigan Wolverines again?
No. That was I had a chance to go out there for that, and just the atmosphere of a big time place like that is just it's hard to describe. You have to actually go out there to really appreciate the high level college football, like the 106,000 people in the stands. It's just amazing. But I doubt if we ever see those guys again.
Now, I'd like to switch gears and talk about racing in Dover International Speedway. Talk about the impact on Delaware State University, because you have a lot of parking lots that are very close to the racetrack.
Yeah, we're fortunate. I don't know all the race tracks around the country and their relationship geographically to different schools, but a lot of organizations make money off of the racetracks because they have groups come in to maybe do concessions or hospitality, parking. We're fortunate being right across the street from Dover Downs, where cars, people coming in from all over the East Coast will park their cars at the university. And we've been able to generate some funds through that for scholarships and what have you. And it's been a good relationship. But it's not just that. We do some of the teams, for example, say our softball team, will go over and do some hospitality tents, which means they'll serve some of the people who pay good money to have some of those tents, and the Dover Downs will pay so much for how many hours that the kids work, and then it goes back into the program. But it's been a tremendous boost for us because again it's a lot of work. I've done it myself, and the people who have been the race fans are amazing. I mean, for the most part. Then they come in to have a good time, and they settle in for the weekend, and barbecue and just enjoy themselves. And we've had a real good experience with the folks at Dover Downs, and are just hopefully that they will continue over the years. They'll continue to have 2 race weekends, and we'll continue to have people to come over and park at Delaware State. Cause it's been a nice boost for us financially, but it also helps to strengthen our relationship with Dover Downs as well.
Now, a race weekend will be upcoming May the 31st. Through June the 2nd. Will you be in attendance?
I'm hoping to. It was interesting. A couple of years ago, we had some young ladies from China who were doing some kind of a summer exchange or an exchange program with Delaware State, and I took them to the race that weekend. It just happened to be race weekend, and they had a ball. That was actually my first time going, and it was fantastic. I can see why people enjoy NASCAR racing, just the whole atmosphere. Yeah, I mean, it's loud. Yeah, it's really loud. In fact, when we got there, we didn't have earplugs. So I told the girls, sit here, I'll go buy you guys some earplugs. I went down to get some earplugs. By the time I came back, some of the other fans had already given them earplugs. They were sitting there. I guess they saw 5, Chinese girls there, and the fans were just nice enough. They all had earplugs. They were enjoying the race. I'm coming back, with these earplugs. But it was a lot of fun. I just think it's a great thing, not just for Delaware State and for Dover, but for this whole region to have a NASCAR weekend a couple times a year in Delaware.
And they've had 2 race dates for several years, and it doesn't look like they're going to lose those anytime soon.
No, I think Dover is, because, as far as in my time here, and I've been here for close to 30 years now. I first started when I moved to Delaware. Dover Downs has been a stop on the circuit, and even though NASCAR has expanded since I moved here they're out in Phoenix and New Mexico and Michigan, New Hampshire. All those weren't stops on the tour when I first moved here, but Dover has managed to stay, on the schedule and twice a year. I think it's because it's a unique place, a unique track, and it's one of the staple venues in NASCAR. I think the fans and the drivers even enjoy coming to Dover, even though it's a tough track to run. Now,
Dennis, we have to quickly wrap this up. Anything you'd like to add?
Well, I just want to again thank you guys and just. Thank the people of Delaware who've really supported us over the years. More and more Delaware kids, particularly Kent and Sussex counties, have opted to come to Delaware State, and I think it makes us a better university in all sports. I mean, not just football, but it's some of the other sports where we've really been able to take advantage of some local kids and really adding to the university. We're an Inspire school, which makes it more affordable. That Inspire scholarship, a lot of kids can come, and if they can combine some athletic money as well as academic, it makes it really affordable. And again, we benefit a great deal from having young people from this area to come to our university. But before I let you go, I do want to. We did start our lacrosse program this year, and it's a first year program. I don't know. I know lacrosse is big in parts of the area, but the team wanted me to give you a shirt here. You can have this for yourself.
I appreciate
walk
that.
Around Delaware State University lacrosse. We're the first year with the program, and again, our athletic program runs the gamut. We're from football and baseball to lacrosse and equestrian. I think we're one of the only schools in America to have that combination of sports. But it's been fun. I mean, the girls have. As a tough first-year program, it's been a little tough. I haven't been able to win a game yet, but I'm learning a lot about lacrosse, and hopefully we'll get you up there to watch a lacrosse match. It's huge in this area. Because
we have to wrap this up because we're running out of time.
Oh, my fault.
Thank you so much for taking the time.
No
It's been a pleasure.
No problem.
My special guest has been Dennis Jones from the University of Delaware State. As you've been listening to the Anthony Joseph Local Sports Show live at Jimmy's Grill in Bridgeville.